Good morning, Grenada, and thank you so much for joining us on our Rise and Shine program this morning. It's your boy Troy Gill, and of course, we have lots of information coming your way, lots of great content. However, you know we have to start with this morning's fitness to get your heart pumping, get your blood flowing, get you ready to start your day. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The 5th Annual Masters of Calypso Melody and Rhythm Edition, Sunday, May 8th, Mother's Day, at the Spice Basket Bolio St. George's. Showtime, 6 p.m. and tickets cost $60. Featuring live from Trinidad and Tobago, Baron, Chigalos.
This party time, I'm feeling the wine.
From Barbados, Red Plastic Bag. From Grenada, Beast, Scholar, Inspector, Black Wizard, Cox, Samantha Dixon, Squeezy, and Moyakai. A special award ceremony for the Hitman Inspector.
Let me tell you that, Inspector, eating better. Make yourself at home, young fella. Eating better.
All artists backed by the Royal Grenada Police Force Band. A special cocktail on entry for all mothers. Compliments West Hall Rum. Tickets available at Mitchell's Health and Wellness Grand Anse, Grenada Optical St. George's, Kittens Pharmacy in St. George's and Grand Anse, St. David's Pharmacy, Licks and Bites Guave, Maxie's Bar Grenville. Masters of Calypso, powered by West Hall Rums, National Lotteries Authority, Flow, Senator Nolan Cox, Captain Harris Suites, Mitchell's Health and Wellness, ML Construction Services, King Elvis Taxi and Tours. One special evening dedicated to mothers. Sunday, May 8th, 6 p.m. This will be one unforgettable show.
She wants style. She wants plumbing.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
Alright guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Rise and Shine. We want to get straight into this morning's routine, this morning's fitness. Alright guys, so we're going to get to chipping, as they say. Right? Make sure that those legs are moving, your arms are moving. You want to get that heart pumping. You want to get that blood flowing. Alright guys, lift those knees, move those arms. Alright guys, nice and easy. We're getting warmed up. We are getting warmed up. Alright guys, nice. Keep going for a couple more seconds. Right, now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be doing some squat variations. Alright, we're also gonna get some hand movements in. We're gonna get as much movement as possible. This also is gonna help you to strengthen and tone your legs as well. Alright guys, you guys ready? So here's what we're gonna do. Very simple, very easy. All you do, right, you step this way, back, squat. Nice and easy. Step, back, squat. Right guys? Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to do squat and press. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, 10, I think 5 more, 5, 4, 3, nice and easy, 2, 1, woo! We're back to stepping again, all right? So we're getting warmed up, nice and easy, you're moving those legs, you're moving those arms. I can feel the burn already. And like I said before, if you can't do 15, then you can do 10. Alright? So if you can't make it all the way to 15, you can do 10, if that's your range. Alright guys? You don't want to force yourself. You go to where you can reach. So we're going to go into the step squat again. Right guys? You guys ready? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and easy, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! All right, squat and press, guys. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. 9, 10. 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, woo, 1. Woo. We're back to stepping again, guys. We're all warmed up. That blood is flowing. That heart is pumping. And these exercises are very simple, yet very effective, right? It helps to tone your arms and especially your legs. Right now, my legs are on fire. All right, guys? So we're stepping. Any form of exercise is good, especially in the morning when you just wake up, right? It gets you, up and ready to tackle whatever the day throws at you. All right, guys? So we got one more set in this. Ready, guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and easy, control, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice and easy, guys. Nice and easy. All right. Squat and press. Ready, guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. 10. Woo! Good job, guys. If you are following, remember back to stepping. Right. So I think We're gonna go for one more set before we call it a day. One more set, guys. Don't give up. One more set. Ready, guys? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nice and easy. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Good job, guys. If you're following, we're going to do the squat and press. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Good job, guys. Now, like I said, this is very effective to get your arms nice and toned, get your legs nice and toned, and also to build a little bit of strength in your legs. And like I said to you before, if you're squatting, right, you can go to where you can reach. You don't have to go all the way parallel. You can reach to where it's comfortable for you if you got bad knees and you got bad joints. All right, guys, remember to drink your water. Water is essential, guys. Always be taking little sips of water. At least, I think the recommended amount of glasses per day is 8 to 9 glasses of water, right? Which may be even more because, you know, we are living in the Caribbean, the sun is hot. All right, guys, so make sure that you're drinking your water. Also, I want to encourage you to make healthy choices. So if you're going to get lunch today, bear that in mind. I'm going to make a healthy choice today. I'm going to eat a fruit or I'm going to eat some veggies. All right, guys, healthy choices. All right, guys, and make sure that you're drinking your water in and between. Also, if you have the opportunity to walk as often as you can, try to walk as regular as you can. Any opportunity you get to walk, use the stairs. All right, don't take the elevator. All right, or you can drop maybe you know, some distance away from home in the evening time when you walk home. All right, guys, come on, walking is very effective. All right, guys, any form of movement or any form of exercise is very effective. It helps you, right? Gets you on your way to living a healthier lifestyle. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. See you again on Rise and Shine.
Swimming is a great sport. It's more than a sport, it's a life skill. Okay, because you could learn football, but you're probably not going to do a lot of it as you get older. But swimming you're going to do for your whole life, and it's not only healthy, it's fun. And we have people that call us up all the time that want lessons because their doctor recommended it for lots of reasons. It's the buoyancy of the water actually cushions the joints and the muscles, so when you have strains and it's hard to move around, swimming is the best sport. Health-wise, I believe swimming is overall the best sport because it's low impact. You're gonna move your body through the water and you're gonna use almost everything, your shoulders, your arms, your legs. You're gonna be exercising everything. Even breathing doctors find that your breathing can get better if you swim. So people with arthritis, this is a good therapy for them. It's low impact. So it is very, very healthy in so many ways. And we really encourage adults to come out and swim. Of course, we've got lots of kids that are coming because it's fun and they should learn to be safe and everything. But I really encourage the adults to come out because of how healthy it is. And if you're watching this, if you're one of the people that come between 6 and 7 a.m., I love seeing you out here every morning. There's groups, different groups all along the beach that come out in the mornings, and it's relaxing. It's fun. They're with friends, and we see them. It's not like necessarily a workout, although some people work out. It's healthy to be in the water and to be hanging out. So we see lots of people around between 6 and 7, and then throughout the day we'll see, but there's a whole crew early morning. We have an 80-year-old lady that comes every single week, so don't not go swimming because you think you're too old. Tons of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and one person for sure in her 80s.
The annual May Day March and Rally, spearheaded by the Grenada Trades Union Council under the theme GTUC, promoting workers' unity, consolidating and advancing gains in these challenging times, were held on Sunday. The march began at Kirani James Boulevard and ended with a rally at the National Cricket Stadium, which included speeches from representatives of the different unions. The president's message echoed the power that lies in the unity of workers.
Union leaders spared no efforts in expressing their concerns at the May Day rally. The issue of the pension court ruling took center stage, with the president sending a firm message to the government. They will not compromise the pension ruling. President of the Commercial and Industrial Workers Union, George Mason, was the opening bowler of the day.
Labour was established, and the machinery and mechanism that were put in place to foster those ideals, however, today it needs oiling. And it needs retrofitting. The Ministry of Labour and the Labour Commissioner are creatures of statute and vested with the authority to expedite matters brought to it. But matters are brought there and they get stuck. Some matters are conciliated by the Labour Commissioner. And when he makes a recommendation, one wonders if it was the same meeting that the union was in. And the minister, who is the most suited and capable, as he has shown, must not be trying to catch soursop thieves and fruit flies, but must be given priority.
President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Jude Bartholomew, continued the fiery pace.
The theme for this year's May Day celebration should be workers bill, workers make, politicians break, and politicians take. For too long, the politicians took away our pension. Today, we are letting them know that we are standing at attention, and no government, no committee, no social partners, nobody is going to rob us of our constitutionally due pension.
Public Workers Union President Brian Grimes gave the assurance that the union is not playing games in the pension matter.
I hear a lot of things in political rallies right now. I hear if they pay the pension, money can't get paid, the bushers can't get paid, who will lose the work, road can't fix, and they're just spreading fear. Our leaders are supposed to empower us. What they're not telling you is that if the pension is paid, people will be able to pay their mortgages. They will be able to pay for medication to live longer. They will be able to avoid the seed program. They'll be able to send their children and their grandchildren to get higher education. How will this destroy the economy? They are trying to divide and rule this country.
Giselle Blackman Charles presented on behalf of the Technical and Allied Workers Union.
We demand that GRENLEC pay the workers a decent salary increase. Comrades, it certainly appears that the government may have already cleaned out GRENLEC. The company's management is offering to give workers a lump sum payment on the premise that they ain't have money. TAU and the GRENLEC workers are placing the nation, we are placing all of you on alert. Unless the lump sum payment offer is withdrawn and replaced with a respectable pay increase offer, then you better get your candle. TAU calls on Flow to harmonize the salaries of the past Columbus communication workers. TAU calls on the government of Grenada to follow the lead of the St. Lucia government and pay severance pay to the former LIAT workers. TAU demands that NAWASA implement the Minister of Labor rulings that the value of the former contract workers' salaries be increased.
Labour Minister Peter David's message was not well received as the workers began walking out of the venue during his speech. In this report, we also hear from the Employers Federation and the Caribbean Congress of Labour.
Labour ministers' presentations at May Day rallies are often coupled with boos from the workers. However, this year the displeased workers expressed their feelings by walking out of the venue. Labour Minister Peter David, who sat through the calls and demands made by the unions to the government, says the theme is indeed relevant and timely.
You know, I might be regarded as an eternal optimist, but I remain hopeful that there is a juncture where we will cross on that road, on the destination, where indeed workers will be at the forefront of building a more just society.
This year's commemoration focused heavily on the court ruling in the pension matter. Minister David again expressed the government's call for dialogue on that issue.
We must now sit and work together for a plan for implementation. Comrades, please, let us rally together on this one. The scale of the finance involved is no walk in the park and requires cooperation and reasoned engagement by all stakeholders. As Minister for Labour, I look forward to facilitating dialogue, and as always, my door remains open. We shall solve this problem together.
First Vice President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Kenny James, presented solidarity messages from the Caribbean Congress of Labour.
Be it global pandemic or recession, Labour must always be prepared to stand in breach to protect the most vulnerable of society. And our ability to do that depends on one thing and one thing only: worker unity. Our ability to represent and advance the interests of workers and to hold on to what has already been secured is grounded in the level of solidarity between workers, both nationally and regionally. This is what your celebratory team captures: the absolute need to work at growing unity.
Executive Director of the Grenada Employers Federation is Lydon Lewis.
We believe the worst of the pandemic is behind us and that we are now on a path to recovery. And together with the unions and workers, we'll find a way to continue with the development of our country, create a more robust economy with greater resilience, sustainability, and productivity that will bring genuine improvement in the lives of our people.
The payment of pensions to workers appeared to be the foremost message by union members across the country as they paraded in the town of St. George in celebration of International Workers' Day. Troy Gill has more.
Hundreds of workers and their unions, comprising the Grenada Trades Union Council, paraded the streets of St. George on Sunday in commemoration of International Workers' Day, recognized on May 1st. The various unions and their members were seen chanting slogans and waving placards depicting images and phrases alluding to workers' rights and other issues. However, one message was quite clear, which was the immediate payment of pensions to public servants following the recent High Court ruling. President of the Grenada Union of Teachers is Jude Bartholomew.
They say that a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So that's what is happening there. Whichever placard that you are seeing, and all the placards you are seeing on May Day is bringing out basically our strong messages, basically to the government, to the general public and such, the grievance matter and all those things that have been boiling over during the year. and you just bring it out through the art form. So I think people are wise enough, they can read to it and such and, apply their own interpretation and understanding.
He says the payment of pensions to public servants is the mainstay for this year's May Day celebrations.
Well, the most prevailing issue right now is the pension issue. The pension issue is number one. We fought for that pension issue. It was a long, hard-fought battle and such, and we took the matter to court. And basically the judge ruling is final. That is the law of the land. That is a constitutional matter. So there is no need for all sort of meetings and negotiations again when the judge rule. And basically that's the same pension that the persons and workers, retirees from 1983 and before 1983 get it. So there is the same thing.
Our news team also caught up with President of the Public Workers Union, Brian Grimes, showcasing the highlight of the PWU's parade.
There's a lot of suffering going on in this country right now under this current administration. As you can see, we have the green and white here, which symbolizes the party colors of the ruling administration. And on it, you can see many different labels: moldy buildings, contract work, assignment, and the list goes on and on, right? What do we have here? Right? Eternal acting, people acting for years and years in this country without permanent work. So the list goes on and on.
He also shared the message behind the illustration.
So here, we are trying to comfort the suffering people of this country, to comfort the workers of this country. It's a difficult job. The sister she keeps going on, but there's a lot of suffering. You want to say anything, sister? Sister, you want to say anything? No. All right, okay. Well, we try our best.
The Grenada Union of Teachers was declared the winner of this year's March Past, with the Public Workers Union placing second and Bank and General placing third. For MTV News, Troy Gill.
President of the Trades Union Council, Andre Lewis, tells the scores of workers that the issues affecting them, especially the present pension matter, must not be seen through a political lens. Lewis says several legislative changes are needed to ensure workers' rights are protected.
Quote on trade disputes. As it stands right now, the bourgeoisie class, under the leadership of the corporate lawyer, has gotten the courts up to the Privy Council level to rule that workers do not have access to the courts. Amendment to 66(1). That's the aspect to do with reasonable time. Remember, the workers have been locked out for 60-something days. And we have been fighting to get paid for these workers. They were not paid. And therefore, we call upon the government to amend Section 66(1) to address those matters. I should let you know that as we discuss amendments to the Labour Code, the private sector, the government, and the labor movement have been addressing matters to tighten up on this. It has not yet been done. The Banking Act, relative to the sale of a business, must be addressed.
President Lewis says issues affecting workers must not be colored by politics.
These are bread and butter issues. Whether you're green, whether you're yellow, whether you're red, whether you're blue, bread and butter issues must not be in color. Because this court judgment here affects all of us. Affects all of us. And there are those who made their bread and butter by fighting us. This must be all across the line, comrades.
Lewis reiterates the need to separate political stance from issues of the working class.
As we stand, beat any of the Mitchells. I don't care which Mitchell. A Mitchell is a Mitchell, be it Dr. Mitchell or the other Mitchell, comrades. Once they come before us, we must not compromise. On one hand, we have the Dr. Mitchell who has taken us, we have fought them in the court. And then we have the others who have fought us in the court. These are bread and butter issues. And I will be failing in my duty, comrades. I will be failing in my duty if I don't address these matters. At the end of the day, vote for who you want. But do it consciously. Do it to the full knowledge that bread and butter issues must not be mixed with politics.
Political leader Deacon Mitchell and members of the National Democratic Congress also celebrated May Day 2022. According to Mitchell, the National Democratic Congress is committed to further enhancing and protecting the benefits workers deserve. Nikita Hostin has more.
Members of the National Democratic Congress stood in solidarity with workers of the country on Sunday at the May Day celebrations. Political leader Dickon Mitchell, in his statement on the occasion of International Labour Day 2022, gave strong support to the workers of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique. He said workers face serious challenges which affect different aspects of their lives.
From low wages to job insecurity, to lack of social security benefits, to lack of access to financing, and high and ever-rising cost of living. But these and other challenges have always been confronted by our workers, and they have always met them head-on and continue to meet them head-on. As I stated in my first national address, and which I repeat, as a nation, we must recognize and reward the dignity of work.
He said workers' productivity must be rewarded, as he highlighted some of the changes that must be made.
As a nation, we must recognize and reward the dignity of work. It is the workers of our nation that have built this nation. We must encourage and reward worker productivity. Our workers must have a major stake in the economic benefits of our country. There must be an end to the so-called contract work. Our workers must be made permanent or be given indefinite status and job security. Our workers, not just public service workers, but all workers, must be paid pensions or gratuity upon retirement. How we pay our workers must also be transformed. We believe that our Grenadian workers should be paid twice a month. This adjustment will translate to more spending power for workers. Bi-monthly payments or payments made twice a month means that our workers can go to the supermarket more frequently and better take care of their basic needs.
May Day celebrations of 2022 were held under the theme Promoting Workers' Unity, Consolidating and Advancing Gains in these challenging times.
While we have serious issues to address as we move Grenada forward, May Day 2022, like all previous May Days, is truly for noting, highlighting, and celebrating the fantastic accomplishments of our workers.
Nikita Hostin, MTV News.
Attorney at law Anselm Clouden, who is representing the families of the recent boating incident with the Grenada Coast Guard that claimed the life of Kimon Bell, says the Royal Grenada Police Force should engage with more witnesses to the incident. We get more from Nikita Hostin.
The survivor, Vanny, I brought him in to, I think, Superintendent Gill, to have a statement taken from him. So a statement was taken. The superintendent was advised that there were a number of other witnesses to the incident on land. I don't know how far they have gotten and whether they have interviewed those persons who would have seen from the area itself what had transpired.
That was Anselm Clouden, lawyer for the family of Kimon Bell, who lost his life at sea after the Grenada Coast Guard collided with his small boat in Grand Anse waters on Sunday 24th. Clouden also represents Vaughn D. Joseph, the other occupant of the vessel, who escaped with only minor injuries. He insists there are witnesses to the incident who can assist with the investigation.
It is hoped that more witnesses would be interviewed. God knows if they have determined who those witnesses are. This investigation seems to be overshadowed by the spectre of secrecy.
Clouden gave his views on last Friday's incident between police and protesters who were on the streets calling for justice for Kimon Bell.
Usually where permission is granted for protesters to exercise their democratic and constitutional right, that area ought to be cordoned off, or you have traffic personnel present regulating the flow of traffic or redirecting the flow of traffic so as to ensure that the protesters can exercise their democratic rights legitimately.
The Royal Grenada Police Force has sought to ensure the public that the boating incident will be thoroughly investigated using a parallel approach that involves the Maritime Administration and the Royal Grenada Police Force. The investigations will be conducted independently of each other, according to police. However, Clouden expressed his concern.
What is most distressing is the fact that the police is investigating itself. I think although they claim they have persons from the SSU or RSU coming in, but from the very inception of this investigation, they ought to have brought in independent investigators to determine what has taken place.
Nikita Hosten, MTV News.
Last Friday saw the official launch of Spicemas 2022 at the National Stadium. Revelers, carnival enthusiasts and artists were out in their numbers, all eager to be part of the return of Spicemas. Our news team was there to capture the action. Here is Donella Hostin with the details.
After 2 years of not being able to have carnival celebrations due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Grenadians are now getting the opportunity to have Spicemas 2022. Spicemas, the return, was officially launched on Friday at the National Stadium, with all aspects of Carnival being highlighted.
I alone, me mommy have.
And me mommy Diane gone away.
And she leave me alone behind.
And me mommy Diane gone away.
And she leave me alone behind.
I
alone, me mommy have.
I alone.
The
junction, so we start to function. Hot crab and rum, real head concussion. Oh, you love to play a mass, I know you love.
Chairman of the Spicemas Corporation, Ali Gill, noted that this was indeed a celebratory moment. Also addressing the gathering was Minister for Culture, Yolande Bean Hosford.
We should embrace those changes because it is also an opportunity to enhance the carnival product so that our carnival can be the best in the region. Carnival, our main cultural festival, it is an expression of our cultural heritage. It is a time of the year when the stakeholders of Mass, Pan, Calypso, and Soca showcase their craft, and we get to appreciate how creative we are as a people.
Our news team spoke to a few artists who said they are excited to be back out after 2 years of not having Carnival.
Man, right now I feel so jolly. You know, I wish we had Juve tomorrow, because Juve is the best part for me, to be honest, and Soca Monarch. Yeah? So after 2 years, it feels really good. Feels good to be back in the thing.
So it's 2 years, but it feels like about 5 years, and I'm really glad to be back in the mass. You know what I mean? We right here in Spicemas launched for the 2022, and we feeling the vibes.
I mean, it's definitely a pleasure to be back. I am happy to be back. I've been working hard over the 2 years to produce good music with good substance and make sure that the people can enjoy Rudy J and be sure that Rudy J is still here and is here to stay.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
One agribusiness entrepreneur continues to affirm the use of seaweed as an alternative and viable source of fertilizing as one means of mitigating rising costs that continue to be felt by local farmers. We get more from Troy Gill.
Sargassum seaweed continues to invade Grenada's coast and appears to be quite dense in specific areas along the eastern coast, particularly in Soubise, Grenville and the Telescope regions, identified specifically by its pungent smell. When it first appeared several years ago, the Ministry of Agriculture encouraged farmers to collect and distribute it to farms as a viable form of organic fertilizer, and founder and CEO of Akata Farms, Bevon Charles, still believes it can be used by farmers. Speaking during a press conference hosted by Range Developments and Adult and Teen Challenge Grenada in April on a partnership to promote agribusiness and other initiatives, Charles said, given the rising cost of feed and fertilizer, she is looking into the possibility of seaweed as a viable option.
I will be leaving for Nebraska in June, and that is something what I'm trying to facilitate, to get sargassum down here to be able to manufacture our own feed. But it's a work in process. And it goes across the board for fertilizer as well. That price has already increased as well. But we have seaweed on our coast rotting. That is our sustainable fertilizer right there, but we have not made use of it.
Managing Director of Range Developments, Kamal Shihada, supports the idea and said recycling waste is one of their key initiatives.
We will be working on this, the seaweed immediately on that. And actually we have in our resort that we are building is fully sustainable. Yeah. So we have, everything have to be recycled, and this will be done through, we don't throw anything, no plastic in there, we don't throw anything at all. It have to be, have added value, and we will be working with maybe a bigger group and other to address these things.
Executive Director of Adult and Teen Challenge Grenada, Jude Hector, said the use of local sources of food and fertilizer will mitigate rising production cost, especially among livestock farmers.
So the thing is, we have a lot of local materials that we can, and plants and trees that we can actually produce our own feed, but we need machines, right? So pelletizer, package, so in other words, we need to find ways. We cannot do it alone, but again, working with other farmers, we can. It just means, again, the government will then have to allow us the opportunity to produce feed to make sure that, because Kamala, he's mentioned the cost of the items. If your production cost is high, evidently your sale price is going to be high, right?
According to reports, the removal of sargassum seaweed inland will lessen its potentially hazardous effects due to its pungent odor and other associated negative implications for the tourism and fishing industries. For MTV News, Troy Gill.
Rastafarians from the Rastafari Organization of Centralization and the Nabingi were out on Saturday at the St. John's Anglican School speaking about the health and economic benefits of marijuana. To date, marijuana remains
Good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine for today, Tuesday, the 3rd day of May. It is World Press Freedom Day. Today is our day. It's the day when we who work in this fraternity have an opportunity to observe and also share with the public. Who you are our receivers, you are also our examiners, and we always have the opportunity to share with you. We may not always share what you may want to hear, but it is our responsibility to share. It's always a pleasure being here with you here on Rise and Shine, one where we give you an opportunity to encourage you to start your day positively, go through it, help someone, but most so to be grateful that you're alive. I am Oslin Crosby, and it's the day after the holiday. It was Labor Day on Sunday. Workers had an opportunity to celebrate. It was the observance for workers. We know that the pension issue, it was on display. It is the big topic now. It was all on display, and the workers did share their views either through interviews with the media or on their placards, or when their various representatives from the head of their unions spoke on the platforms. And we are grateful. That is what freedom is about. That is what democracy is about. But as I always say, with democracy should also come control. But share. You have a voice, you need to share. Say what you need to say. So it's already 7:45 in the morning, so it's 7:45. If you are heading off to work, then you know you only have 15 minutes to get there, or little ones that are heading off to school, 15 minutes to get to school and work on time. If you're not far away, then I guess you'll be making it. If you are, then I would suggest you call your bosses now and apologize, please, sincerely, that you are late, but you're on your way. The traffic can be a bit messed up too around this time, especially when we have school. So let's take that into consideration. And it is wet. The roads are wet, so let us be extra cautious. Let us not splash water on our pedestrians. Let's be very, very nice commuters today. Let us be pleasant. So we're going to do we have the weather this morning? So we are just checking to see if we have the weather. Last week we were affected by a trough. Yes, the season has not officially started yet. It officially starts on June 1, but we know that, do we have any control over what the weather gives us? No, we don't, but we are grateful that at least we knew. And even more grateful that it was not as bad as initially predicted. We did get some water on Monday, we got some on Tuesday, Wednesday we got a little more, and on Thursday we did have a very, very cloudy day. But I think we do appreciate that on Friday it was much better. We actually had an opportunity to go out there, had carnival lunch on Friday, and the weather was perfect. It was wonderful, and it was a good weekend. So now we have our forecasters from the Met Office now online, so let's go over and take in the weather, and then we would get on into our first interview for the morning. Good morning. I am great, thank you, Cecile. How are you? Thank you so much, Cecile, and that's the weather forecast for today. We often encourage you to use it to help plan your day, as we know that the weather can impact so much. So let's use it for that purpose. We are quickly moving to that of the start of the hurricane season. So let us use it also as a guide in preparation for that season that we know can be quite disruptive and unpredictable from time to time. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I speak to the president of MWAC, the Media Workers Association of Grenada, on today's observance, World Press Freedom Day.
Of NAWASA's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
The 5th Annual Masters of Calypso Melody and Rhythm Edition, Sunday, May 8th, Mother's Day, at the Spice Basket Bolio St. George's. Showtime, 6 p.m. and tickets cost $60. Featuring live from Trinidad and Tobago, Baron. Shigalos.
There's this party time, I'm feeling to wine.
From Barbados, Red Plastic Bag. From Grenada, Beast, Scholar, Inspector, Black Wizard, Cox, Samantha Dixon, Squeezy, and Moyakai. A special award ceremony for the Hitman Inspector.
Let me tell you that, Inspector, eating better. Make yourself at home, young fella. Eating better.
All artists backed by the Royal Grenada Police Force Band. A special cocktail on entry for all mothers. Compliments West Hall Rum. Tickets available at Mitchell's Health and Wellness Grand Anse, Grenada Optical St. George's, Kittens Pharmacy in St. George's and Grand Anse, St. David's Pharmacy, Licks and Bites Guave, Maxie's Bar Grenville. Masters of Calypso, powered by West Hall Rum's National Lotteries Authority, Flow, Senator Nolan Cox, Captain Harris Suite, Mitchell's Health and Wellness, ML Construction Services, King Elvis Taxi and Tours. One special evening dedicated to mothers. Sunday, May 8th, 6 p.m. This will be one unforgettable show.
She wants high, she wants plumbing.
Did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need, and we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LED. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
How do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
Renelec, energizing our Grenada. We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
for your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Rise and shine.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. It's now 7:54 in the morning, so we move closer to the top of most people's start of their workday and school. So as I indicated before we went on the break, we are speaking now with President of MWAG, the Media Workers Association of Grenada, Mr. Jared Joseph. Good morning, Jared, and how are you?
Hi, good morning. I am good for the time. Good morning to your viewers.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on. It's always easy speaking to someone who works in the same field as you. As you don't have too much to do, it is basically just as if we're talking when we meet. It's a special day for people working in media. It's World Press Freedom Day, and for us, I think we understand the significance of it, because what we do, as I said initially when I introduced the program as World Press Freedom Day, We are tasked with the responsibility of sharing information. It is not always what people want to hear. And sometimes it can put us in danger because to get the information, sometimes the path or where we have to go to get it can be pretty dangerous. Sharing it can be another thing because you can be attacked. Yet still we continue to do what we do. Under the theme journalism on the digital siege, I think that is a very, very appropriate one. COVID has taught us that while yes, we know what we do, now it's almost as if everyone believes that they are journalists because of a phone, which may have a recording devices on it. But we know that that's so much different. Let's start with the theme, and then we're going to go on now to our local scenarios here in Grenada.
Okay, well, I think the theme is very much in line with the present situation that's going on worldwide, locally, regionally. The whole thing about digitalization this is the era that we are in, and if the media is not cautious, careful, and media managers, media workers don't take it lightly, then easily we could be brushed off. Media can be no longer classified as even the photo estate, because as you highlighted, everybody believes they are journalists since they have their phones. Everything comes up early, social media, internet. So it's a challenge for media right now. So, but a philosophy that's always been enshrined within us media workers is that it's not to be first, it's to be factual. It's to present the truth. So that is the whole synopsis, and that's the whole thing that we have to go and we have to always be mindful of. No matter if there are someone who might be reporting, because right now you see them doing it, they're reporting it, they're not even giving you pictures, videos, they're giving you play-by-play, so it's a challenge. However, I believe that our media fraternity in Grenada and the rest of the world would not be daunted by it, and we will continue to empower ourselves.
Yes, and I'm happy that you spoke to that that part there, that when you spoke to us sharing, not time, but rather facts, content, the information that is shared is what's critical. Is it credible? Is it the truth? Is it balanced? And that is what I know many people who believe that it is simply what we say or taking it as it comes is what it is, and that is a critical factor that I want us to speak to, that a lot of people don't seem to understand. And I think who we need to speak to is the public, because remember, when the information gets out there, the public will run with it. It does not mean that it is the fact. And at the end of the day, we are the ones that get the short end of the stick, saying that the media is slow and we're not getting the information out in time. But the information that you might have gotten first, yes, as it was happening, was it the right thing to do? And one of the things that we recognize is we have lost our focus, because now we're no longer looking at trying to help people, but we're no more looking at trying to get the information out. Are we thinking about the victim's family? There's an incident happening. There's an accident. Instead of we reach out a hand to help, we're starting to record and go live while somebody's dying on the ground. It is significant, and it is. We have to go back to this very important aspect of what we do as journalists, unlike what many other people who may just have a phone, because the phones now are recording devices. The quality we can question, the content, how gruesome it may be. These are the things that guide our institution. It guides our profession, what we do, when we do it, what we put out, how we put it out, and the effects on the people that are involved in the process. Let's talk to this.
Yes, so the whole issue, and I would encourage my members, and I'll continue to urge them to always be mindful. It's not about being first. I would always reiterate, it's not about being first. It's always about being factual and bringing a balanced story. Because sometimes you reach on a scene and just trying to gather information, listening to the talk on the ground, and that might not be the story, not even close. And so you have to dig, you have to interview, you have to speak to all sides, because sometimes you come back and you bring a story and it's one-sided, and you get crucified for it. So rather than that, be factual, not be first. And so I'm encouraging my local media fraternities members to always be mindful. This is a law within media internationally. It's not about being first. And sometimes you see other people getting the stories and they're getting it out there and they're getting the mileage, but you bring that well-balanced story and people will be like, oh, so that's the story. Oh, now I understand. I didn't get that on the next station. And it's not about competition. Yes, we are competing sometimes, but it's not about the competition. It's about being factual. It's about putting out what is supposed to be put out, a balanced story that covers all bases, that is covering all sides. It might not be 2 sides, it could be 4. So sometimes you have to dig and sometimes you have to hold back on a story. So sometimes the public sees us and is wondering, okay, that went yesterday, how come? No, because sometimes getting that next side of the story is a challenge. So you have to hold back. The editor will tell you, no, I need that next side of the story. Get that next side before the story could be aired, because you have to protect yourself as well as you have to protect the media entity, because lawsuits is a possibility. You have to be very careful. Sometimes you bring forward a story and it comes across as one-sided. Sometimes it comes across somewhat balanced, but not enough. That last leg that you should have completed was not. So in retrospect, sometimes as I alluded to, it could be 4 sides, it could be 3. So you have to get all the different sides and strengthen that story.
Yes, and you're right about that. And these, as I always say, are the things that the public would not see and would not know because of what happens in the back. We are speaking now. What you're seeing now is basically what we want you to see, yes? I remember a couple of years ago, there was a picture that, that made, I think it was on CNN, what the back of a journalist looks like, behind the journalist that you see on TV. The amount of wires and the amount of stuff that are at the back of us to put on the mics and put on the earpieces and everything else so that this can happen. And it is similar. It is a similar situation that happens with us when you see us out there sharing information. Responsibility. I want us to focus on this. We spoke a while ago, you spoke on sometimes us having to hold back on stories. Yes, you heard it then, but we did not get the information, so we could not run with it. And responsibility in that of people being able to take action on you. Even though we may have press freedom, and even though today is Press Freedom Day, we are still charged with a very heavy responsibility when it comes to dissemination of information. We are not, and the thing is, it's even bigger than just the legal part of it. You spoke about the lawsuits. We can be charged for slandering somebody's name, slander and libel. We know that it comes with it. In the situation of minors, we have rules that govern our line of work when it comes to that. We cannot show minors. There may be a minor, yes, in the court, but they're still a minor, and they have to be respected. And these are the things that we want people to understand. In addition to that, the media is also governed by human rights laws and conventions that countries sign on to. So our responsibility, much bigger than the individual who chooses to go live when something is happening. But what I want to encourage us to do, though, as we speak of what we have to deal with, is to encourage the public to be more responsible as to how we disseminate and share information, create undue panic, because this is a national security. The minute we start sharing information and it's wrong, we can change the entire paradigm of an incident. Because when people go into panic mode, then everything gets wrong. Everything goes wrong. But let's start with responsibility, and then we would go down to that encouragement to the public on ensuring that information that's disseminated, it's not just about you being able to be called a popular person on social media, but rather to be very responsible in your dissemination of information. Because while we may be tagged with being irresponsible, the same can be said about the individual in the public.
Yes, and that is very true. Responsibility is something that many people do not want to carry on themselves. They rather shun it. I am employing my media people to always be responsible. I would continue to encourage that, to be responsible. Don't shun your responsibility as a media practitioner. Always be willing to improve. It's Press Freedom Day. However, we know in Grenada sometimes the press is not really that free. We still need some laws to protect ourselves. As I highlighted before, due to the possibilities of lawsuits, there is not a Freedom of Information Act in Grenada and other supporting laws for media practitioners. So we have to be even more responsible in the absence of those laws. And we have to always encourage, sometimes, because we have to remember, sometimes some stories are educational. It educates the public on certain things. All stories cannot be sensational. Some stories wouldn't catch everybody's attention. It might just be a select few. And we have to be comfortable and content with that, because we know we are still impacting certain parts of the society. Certain people are still listening and say, oh, so that's what's going on. Okay, I'm learning today. I learned something new today. So members of the public too, sometimes you have to listen. Sometimes reporters put out stories and they realize, oh, because it's not sensational, people are not viewing it as much. So, and in putting out information, sometimes the public wants to do it first. Yes, do it first, but at what cost? As you had intimated earlier, at what cost? To your neighbors, to your friends, to your families, and to the country. At what cost? So on this observance of World Press Freedom Day, I implore media practitioners and especially the public to listen, to realize the importance of why maybe the media is not jumping on a story or running with a story, because there are people to be protected, especially in regards to certain sensitive cases. We can't put out the face. You might want to see the face of the person, of the perpetrator, or the alleged perpetrator. I stand corrected. But you can't, because certain laws prevent that. So you have to be able to understand and educate yourself, empower yourself as a Grenadian. And just as we journalists continue to empower ourselves to know more, to gravitate and to that peak of journalism in terms of putting out not only what people might want to hear at the time, but putting it out in a way that people could understand. So I would continue to employ everybody who is included, because it's the development of the country is at stake. Once, in terms of media practitioners, if there is no longer a level of responsibility for media as well as Grenadians, the level in terms of society, the level in terms of country, national development would be at stake. You might not see it now, but if it ever happens, you realize the importance of the media and the importance of responsibility, and the importance of respecting sometimes your neighbors, your friends, your co-workers.
The importance of journalism, press freedom, information dissemination, how we do it, when we do it, involving court matters. We sit about every day and we see somebody do something. Most of the times, the sexual assault cases. You spoke to it briefly a while ago. And everybody wants to put out the perpetrator, yes? Especially when it involves incest. It involves a close family member and the victim. If you put out the perpetrator's face, it is not about the perpetrator then. But if the story comes out before that this man molested, sexually assaulted his daughter, isn't it very obvious for everybody to know who the victim is? And that is how we need to start to see it. It is important that, as I said, we share. We as media people share those information. Yes, you would give us the flack, and from time to time we would leave it because we understand why. But it is important that we educate the public on the reasons why we don't do it. It is our job. It is never our role to victimize the victim. They are already damaged. Putting out the perpetrator would not be punishing the perpetrator, but it would be punishing the victim. Because then society now comes down on the individual. Before you heard the story, you might see a name, and sometimes you don't even see the name. Because I know the court has that, especially unit, the sexual unit within the RGPF, where you don't release certain information because you need to protect the victim. And it is something that we from time to time get a lot of licks for, but it's important that you protect the people involved. It is not just about shaming someone, and that is not our role. That is not what we're in business to do. We are here to share information. And as you rightfully said, it may not always be what people want to hear, but it is what we do, and it is what we have to do. And then we have the other realm of things. We are about to go into a very charged political season. The media and politics. It is one of the things I know the public, if you report on one story and you don't on the other, you get the licks because you would be aligned there. At the end of the day, the bottom line is we are still charged with the responsibility of sharing information. Come election day, as part of the electorate, we have still a constitutional right to vote. But do we have it then to openly go out and say that this is what we do? No. We have to be responsible as well. And let's speak about it. The media and politics and the media and court matters.
The media and court matters. As you said, it's a technical and ticklish issue. And it's something that within at least my term, I would be looking to seriously ensure that training in terms of proper court reporting and in terms of knowledge of the law and what you media do and what they don't do, because sometimes you go to a court session trying to get information and you realize, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. You have to understand that you have to dress in a particular way. You have to do certain things in a particular way in terms of tracking down your stories. So in that regard, especially with sexual related cases, I believe more education, more empowerment for us as media, where we can learn more. So maybe even to educate the public on it, to realize the importance of sometimes protecting the victim, as you highlighted. Sometimes of not putting it out as is, maybe doing it from a different angle, you know. So that's why sometimes you see a story might go out and that, you know, we take it from the angle, you speak to a psychologist, what is the potential impact of this or that? What would happen, you know? And why is the importance of protecting somebody in that case or doing something different? So sometimes the public might not get the story that they want, but they have to realize it's not because we don't want to do this, but it's because we can't, because we don't want to infringe or damage the target of protecting that individual who is the victim. And remember, sometimes, unless confirmed, it's alleged. So sometimes you don't want to even put out that individual because innocent until proven guilty. We might not like it, but that's the law. And we have to respect that. And we have to be responsible enough to respect that. So as I highlighted before, that is one in terms of empowerment, in terms of covering court matters, especially those types of matters. What should we do? Because we've all seen it, certain people, different reporters might have different things, different media houses might have different policies. But on those matters, it should be level. And it comes back to, it's not about being first, it's about being right. It's about putting out that a balanced story. Because sometimes, you know, in court, it's two sides. It's not one, it's two sides. Sometimes maybe even three. So putting out that balanced story is a must, it's key. It's very critical to the development and protection of the court as well as the story. You might put out something and it comes across as evidence. Remember, if according to how you do a court story, the defense or even whoever is prosecuting the case could use your story as evidence to their case. because according to what you put out. So it's very, you have to be very mindful of how to cover good stories. And as I said, training is a must in that area. In regard to politics and the media, especially in this what we call silly season, I would just like to first implore my fellow colleagues to be mindful of their responsibilities, to be a media person first, a Grenadian first. Yes, you have your right to vote. However, you know your responsibility as a citizen and as a journalist is crucial. You don't mix two and you don't mix three. I wouldn't want to see any of my members publicly supporting one party or the next. And you have to always be mindful. Sometimes you do a story, and yes, you might get as we say branded as red or green or yellow or pink. However, people have to realize, okay, your editor sent you out to cover this. You have to do the story. And then sometimes it's the resources, limited resources. People might watch and realize, oh, so why are they covering this and they're not covering that? It's limited resources. So it's very difficult to really be everywhere at the same time. And then again, I would admonish my members to not this is silly season. People would have accused you of taking bribes, of doing all different things to support this political party or that political party. Just put out the facts, put out the story as it is, and let the story stand for itself. Do not try to lean to a side or lean to a next. Put the story as it is and be as unbiased as possible in just putting out the story as it is. We put the story as it is. If you could bring balance, you bring balance. If you do further research to develop the story, it would even be better. If you put out a rich political story, it would be even better. The point is, Grenadians have their choice. They know. The more you educate them in terms of their rights, it might be better than leaning towards or showing towards a political party because you might favor that person or you might favor that person. That is not. It's about being a Grenadian first. You are a citizen, and you have to be a citizen first, a journalist first, second in that occasion. So a citizen first, a journalist second, and remember to put out the facts first. That's it.
It is going to hinge on a lot of professional ethics too, and that of encouraging us to be professional in our doings, in our work, and what we put out there. In addition to that, we spoke about the challenges, we spoke about the digital age and how it has transformed media. But in addition to it, Gerard, I want us to, it's just about 90 minutes past 8 o'clock, speak about the importance of the public in the process. The public, as I always say, are our examiners. That's who we share information with. We may not always get an A+, sometimes you do get an F, and it's dependent on who's involved, what we share, how we share it, that kind of thing. But the importance of the public, because one of the things that we know, it's a partnership here. We give information, but if most of the times, as you said a while ago, we have challenges, resources, and sometimes you hear something, most of the times we get stories. It's somebody who calls a newsroom and say this is happening, outside of being invited to a press conference or something, an actual media event. Whenever things happening in the community, it is the public who calls us. And the importance of that relationship. I call it a partnership because it is a partnership. They would call and say, you know, this road has been an issue for years. Or people are constantly breaking into that school. It's affecting all of us because our children goes there. Our community play a critical role in the media being able to function and function efficiently. And let's speak to that. Of course, saying thank you to them and encouraging that relationship that we share with that group of people.
Yeah, as you said, appreciation is a must. Without the public, sometimes you remember whether it's TV, radio, newspaper, online, you need somebody to corroborate the story. Credibility, especially for TV, is a face. Someone speaking. So sometimes it's a member of the general public. So of course appreciation must go to them. Sometimes they give because sometimes they are your credible contacts within the different villages. They are the first to call you, teachers is protesting now, or this person have a one-man protest, or this and that is happening in my village. Or it might be a community interest story that they believe should be highlighted and should be promoted on a national level. So without the public, the media would not be the media, because remember, we are also members of the public. We live and breathe along with you. So of course, as you highlighted, it's a partnership, and I would always give appreciation where appreciation is due. And much appreciation is due to the members of the public for their involvement, for their cooperation throughout the years, assisting media in different stories, sometimes giving you information that you would never believe that was available, and being there and being responsible and being brave enough, sometimes bold enough, to stand up in front of a camera or in front of a mic and give their story so we can tell it as it is. So appreciation must go out to them. And however, in that same regard, I would urge them to continue to be responsible, continue to work along with us, and always be responsible in the information you give. If you know it's a hearsay and it's not a fact, say it is as it is. I've heard reports that happened, so maybe you could investigate it. Because sometimes you might be chasing a story and the story is not even there. And it has happened to different reporters. Sometimes you're chasing a story and nothing is even happening in that area because it's hearsay. So I would encourage members of the public to always be factual, make connections with the different media houses. That's an encouragement. However, as I said, be responsible in how you do it. The methodology is always more important than sometimes maybe even the end result, because it is a major contribution. So I always encourage the media members as well as to have credible contacts. Sometimes you go with a contact and the information that is given is far from the truth, and that could destroy your credibility as a journalist, could destroy the reputation of your media house if the information is not verified and verified properly. So that in that regard, in that aspect, in retrospect, media members have to double check, triple check sometimes their sources and triple check their information. Make sure it's correct. Make sure you dig up all facets of the story to make sure that you produce, as I said, a balanced story. A balanced story has many sides.
Yeah. A balanced story have many sides, and it is critical that happen. You spoke a while ago of the implications. It discredits you as the individual, because that is one of the things that you cannot run from being a journalist. It is not just working in a place, but we become faces that the public is familiar with, and when we do it wrong, it is not like everybody else. Our punishment are a lot more scathing. It's a lot heavier than the public, than the ordinary man would be. And it's important that we, as journalists, be very mindful of this, our behavior, what we do, when we do it, how we do it, where we go. We don't get to divorce work and our personal lives. It's one. And we have to be very, very mindful of this. Before you run off, I wanted to speak about to sustain this industry. Yes, we have the people who were there before, the Lou Smiths, the Eugenie Masons. We have many, the Tony Julians, the Maguires, many people. We can go back as far as, I'm trying to remember his name now. One of our stalwarts, Mr. Hugh, that died. We can go back as far as that. The one in The Voice who died, Mr. Pear, and others who have given sterling, they're the ones who paved the way for this industry. The people who still continue to work, former MAG members, the Bascoms, the Titus, and others. And it therefore means that for there to be continuity, then we must encourage young people to come into the fraternity. Come in where you are then backed by education. Because coming in, because you think this is going to make you popular, you can get quite a blow at it when you get here. It is not what it appears to be. There's a lot more. I think we both know that there's a lot more. Because when you get in here, you have to learn. You have to learn. But if you come in and you decide to formalize your education with it, so go to school, be a professional at it, you will recognize how much more you can earn and how much more you can give from this profession. So I want us to encourage our young people to get involved in this field. Jared, I am going to confess here and say that it was never my intention to be in media. It was never a thought of mine in school, never. But I'm grateful for the opportunity given years ago. And you use it as a trampoline to grow. And I would encourage others to get involved. But when you do so, you get involved, learning the right thing. I have to be grateful for the people who would have held my hands and walked with me. Still call and check up, ensure that you keep in line. But I think it is important that we encourage our young people to get involved in this industry.
Yes, it's very crucial to get the young people involved, especially at this time. Because as I was just telling someone just last week, after this crop of young people who are currently engaged in media, we are not really seeing replacements. The level of empowerment that is needed, training that is needed, and people have to remember, especially young people who might be looking at media, they have to think announcers on the radio. There are different facets of the media. So it might not be TV. It might be newspaper. It might be online. It could be as a blogger. That's somebody in the media. So the media is not restricted to just TV, newspaper, and online platforms in terms of articles and putting up that we're not restricted to that. The DJs, the radio announcers, all those persons are different facets of the media because they put out relevant information as well. And their information as well has to be factual and it has to be unbiased. Because especially in Grenada, radio is a huge factor. People listen to radio a lot more than they might even watch television. So the different people on the announcers, the DJs, they inspire people more than they believe. So you have to be careful and also responsible. But I plead to the young people. This is a job that you could aspire to be. But as you said, it's not a bed of roses. But once you are able to succeed in the media, you could succeed in any sector in Grenada. The values and the information that you learn, because sometimes you're doing financial stories and you are never an accountant, you never did accounting, you have to do political stories, you didn't do political science in school. However, you have to be able to cover and you have to be able to cover it well. So the different information and knowledge that you gain by being part of the media could leapfrog you onto maybe the path that you might want to be, or you might see a different path that you want. And it opens avenues for you, it opens opportunities for you, whether to get a scholarship to study something else. It might not be media, but being a media person is a good launching pad for various things in this life, and it creates a well-rounded individual. So I would encourage any young person to be a part of the media. However, you have to be prepared to work, and you have to be prepared to work hard, put in the hours. Sometimes you work in overtime and you wonder, wow, it's not easy as some people look at it. It's not easy. It's not easy because sometimes every day you have to be creative. You have to be creative every day because you have to tackle a story at a different angle, because you have to think, oh, well, that reporter might be doing it from that angle, so let me take it from that angle. And you have to be able to formulate those questions to take it from that angle. And then you have to be able to verify, research, and do the different types of things. It's a good, so as I said, it's a good launching pad to develop yourself personally. So I would encourage any young person to be involved, to get acquainted, because remember, you could be a videographer, you could be a photographer, you could be an editor, if that's what your passion lies. And I know young people, especially in the music and video industry, that is a passion for them right now. So remember, that is media. That is part of the media as well. It's not only frontline journalism or frontline reporting on the press conferences, or digging up the investigative stories, or working on a community oriented piece. It's far-reaching than it people see it, and it's one of the most varied and interesting sectors to work in. But you have to have a passion for it also. So if you don't have a passion, you would not last. Because as I said, it's tough, hard work, and you have to put in the hours, you have to put in the resources to make sure, because at the end of the day, remember, that story not only has the media house, but it is your credibility, it is your reputation. And it could be, as I said, a launching pad to other greater things. So I would encourage all media persons to encourage young people. And I believe media studies should be maybe even taught in secondary schools, because you see it. You go out, you cover most school events, and even adults, they shy away from the camera or they shy away from the mic because they're not really adequately prepared. So I believe if media is maybe taught in schools, at least CC or Form 5 secondary school, people would be more they would gravitate more to media in Grenada, because we have to create that interest. Because again, people highlight the importance of the food estate, but where would the food estate be without a young crop of media professionals to take over from me and to take over from you? We need that. So people have to get on board. So young people, I'm sending out this final plea while I'm speaking here now. Come on board, be part of it, ask somebody. Because as you highlighted, that together with us and together with all the other veterans in the industry, they are still willing to teach. Because in my introductory speech as president of the association, I made a clarion call and appealed for the veterans to come on board and help. And they were willing. I got several calls. So the empowerment process is there available for us. So join the bandwagon, join the media, and help it grow and help it develop to what we might want it to see, or what we want to see it be, and what true journalism should be. And I rest my case.
And Gerard, I don't think I need to ask you another question. I think from there, you summed it up and you concluded also. We are kind of out of time, but before we do wrap up, I'm going to give you an opportunity to just, I guess, extend your World Press Freedom Day greeting to all colleagues, and also continue to encourage that responsible aspect with the public, what we do, how we do it, and how they play a critical role in our process. It was a pleasure speaking with you this morning. It's always a pleasure sharing what people don't see, our challenges, but how we, at the end of the day, make it happen. And you're right, the media is a trampoline to go anywhere, any profession after this. It's a wonderful start. Most people started in journalism and became lawyers. They became, because the bottom line is, as we are taught and told in school, you can read, you can speak, and you can write. The sky's the limit for you. Being able to express yourself through any one of those means, critical in who and or what you become. You cannot be closed. You don't want to write. You don't want to read. You don't want to speak. Then tell me, what would you do when you go to an interview? How would you speak to that potential employer? You see that job, you want it, but you are afraid to speak. You don't know how to express yourself. You go into the workplace and you're asking yourself, you don't know how to speak to people, you don't know how to behave when you go out. It is one of the things, and that's the thing, it exposes us to everything. You have to be almost an expert in everything. Though you may have to, you will call on the experts to get their interpretation of some of the things that we don't understand. But in order for us to be able to write, we must first understand. And I think it is important that the public understand this. It's a lot. Being in this profession, it's a lot on you. It's a lot on you. But in addition to that, it helps you grow. And I must say, I am very, very, very grateful for being in this profession. I will not regret it because it gives you the growth that you will see and actually experience. It cannot be measured. It cannot be measured. You only recognize it when you are placed in a difficult position, and it also helps you with that time management. It does not matter how slow your day is. Come 7 p.m., 7:30, those newscasts have to go on. And be it you make the story, you write the story, or you figure out and you create the story, at the end of the day, that newscasts have to go out. So it gives you, it drives you one way or the other. So Jared, always a pleasure. Your parting words for me.
Okay, so parting words for my media colleagues and the Grenadian public. I would just like to continue to encourage my media colleagues, my members, my executive, to continue doing what they're doing. You're doing a wonderful job despite the challenges, and we know personally some of the challenges we can't even speak about. We know the challenges, and early in my acceptance as president and the voting in of the executive, one of the first things in the weeks, Mikey was again passionate about it. The need for improvements in salaries for workers. But first, we need to improve ourselves as media workers. Improve ourselves, and I believe we could demand the types of salaries that we want, because we realize the quality of work that would go towards that media house. And I would also encourage members of the media to participate. There's a Caribbean Media Summit for I think it's this Thursday. We would be sending out that if we haven't as yet. Please participate along with our regional colleagues. It is in commemoration of Press Freedom Day, and I believe that this can serve as a launching pad, because there are various initiatives, especially for empowerment, to be spoken about during that launch. So I encourage members to participate and just continue to doing the job they're doing, and just see ways to improve, to develop themselves, and just bring in the Media Workers Association in Grenada, especially. And I would add to that plea, members of the media who have not joined the association as yet, please do. The only how the media in Grenada could develop is if we go as a united front, develop ourselves, and really unite on different issues. Too many media persons don't know who working in that next media house. They wonder, who is that individual? As we just say, who is he? Who is she? You don't even know if it is your media colleague. So unite, and we will be continuing that drive to really champion the cause of media workers in Grenada, beyond World Press Freedom Day and beyond everything else, that the different challenges that we face. So thank you for having me on the program.
Jared, it was a pleasure speaking with you this morning. I think we did get an opportunity to cover quite a bit, explaining to the public what we do, how we do it, and the significance of today. Thank you again, and I wish you the very best on this day. Continue your work, your contribution. We do appreciate as head of the Media Workers Association of Grenada. Thank you, Jared. And that's it for us this morning. It's now 8:40. It's where we get to say goodbye to you. I want to salute all my colleagues in the media on this International Press Freedom Day. Please, let's do what we do it best. Continue to be responsible, share a balanced story. get it right before we send it. It's not about time. Rather, it is about facts. Ensure that what we give out, it is the truth and not anything that would destroy or malign anyone, because we have to be responsible in this profession. So this is where I say goodbye for today. On behalf of the team, Elton, Sugars, Tanya, a pleasure. The guest, Mr. Jared Joseph, President of MWAG, our corporate sponsors, Courts, Grenlec, Nawasa. I hope I did not miss anyone. All our sponsors. Thank you so much for continuing to support this initiative. Our viewers at home, online in the diaspora, maybe listening in a vehicle, because we know we also have it on Magic FM. Thank you so much for always being here with us. We do appreciate your company always. And for me, always welcome me into your home or your vehicles. I am grateful, maybe also into your workplace. I am grateful for the opportunity to share with you. Remember, help someone today. You can be a listening ear. You might be able to help someone. They want to cry. You may be a shoulder. But do what we can to help someone today. Have a good day, everyone. Be safe. Remember, COVID is not entirely out. It is still around. Our numbers are still rising. I realize a lot more people now are using their masks. If you choose to do so, it's well within your right to do so. You can. So please ensure that we are safe. Do what you need to do to ensure that you are safe. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everyone. And we'll see you again on Thursday, God's will. New month. Continued information that's credible. That's what we share with you here on Rise and Shine. Have a good day, everybody. Be safe.
Glam out in the best names and designer frames with Quartz Optical. Buy one stylish frame and get 50% off your second pair. Sport your favorite Armani, Converse, Vogue, and many more frames for less. Get an additional 10% off and pay nothing for 30 days when you pay with Ready. Don't miss the opportunity to glam out. Only at Quartz Optical. Value you can see. Offer available while stocks last. Special conditions apply.
Angie, don't you know that you should not fly kites near electrical poles and wires? You should only fly it in open areas. If the kite gets stuck, it can cause power outages throughout the village.
Then I'll just pull it down, Johnny. Simple.
No. You shouldn't do that. You can get shocked. You should call Grenlec at 237 and they will come and help.
Alright.
Never fly kites near the power lines. If your kite ever gets tangled, do not attempt to remove it on your own. A message from Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business.
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Rise and shine.
Part of your past are you trying to escape?